Okay, welcome to our monthly Q&A session.
Okay. Question number 1 from Matthew, Melbourne, Australia. I just started doing daily walking meditation. In the past, I usually only sit and use the breath, so I don't have experience in walking meditation. I know with walking meditation, we can use the mantra Putto internally in connection with the feet. The problem is I cannot form the word Put and To properly inside my mind. I try to speak the word by moving my tongue, although I'm only trying to recite it internally. My breathing then becomes forced. I try to just say it out loud, but after a while it becomes very tiring. So this didn't work either. How can I make the mantra form properly in my mind?
If you cannot use the mantra while you walk, just don't worry about it. And don't worry about your breathing either. Just concentrate on your walking. Just look at your feet. When you move your left foot, just say left. When you move your right foot, just say right, left, right. Or you don't have to say anything. Just watch your feet as you walk. This is to concentrate your mind and prevent your mind from thinking about other things. So if you cannot use the mantra, don't worry. If you don't need to watch your breath while you're walking. Just watch your feet instead. Just focus on your feet only, and don't let your mind go anywhere else. Then you will have mindfulness that way.
Question number 2 from Chua Siu from Singapore. Can Ajahn please advise on the right motivation behind our meditation practice? How to generate and develop the right motivation?
Well, think of meditation like making millions of dollars. Because the result of meditation is worth more than $100 million. Because the happiness that you acquire from meditation far exceeds the happiness that you get from having $100 million.
The next question from Chua Siu, Singapore. Can Ajahn elaborate on what it means by taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha? Because I read one should be one's own refuge. What is the difference?
Well, taking refuge means to take the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha as your teacher. Because before you can teach yourself, you first need someone to teach you. Because you don't know what you are doing. So you need to go to a teacher. So the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha is your refuge as a teacher. But once you have learned from the Buddha, the Dhamma and Sangha as to what you're supposed to do, then you have to be your own refuge. You have to apply what you learned from the Buddha yourself. The Buddha cannot do it for you. The Sangha cannot do it for you. You have to do it. You have to do the practice. That's what it means by having yourself as your own refuge. But you need instruction from the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So that means you need them as your refuge also. So you need both of them. One as a teacher, one as the practitioner.
Next question from Rose, Florida, United States. Is genuine avijja vijnana the one consciousness as it appears to us in deep concentration as the last wave of thought rooted in memory?
I really cannot say, and it's not necessary to know, because when you concentrate, all you want to do is to stop the mind from functioning or working. You want the mind to rest in ubekkha, in peace and happiness. Once you got to that point, it doesn't matter what it is or how it is or what it is. Yeah. Like eating a good dish, a delicious dish. You don't have to worry about how did the cook make this food. All you have to do is eat the food. Okay.
Her next question. Is genuine avijja appear to vijnana that brilliant silver light which we know in deep samadhi?
That's true. When in deep samadhi, then the avijja brightness will appear. That's the brightness of avijja.
Her next question is pure awareness our true nature beyond this silver light.
Yes, when you get rid of this silver light, then you'll come to the pure nature, the nature of nibbana, the pure mind. See, avijja is what makes the mind not pure. Once you have eliminated avijja, then you will come to the pure mind.
So avijja is it kilesa?
Yeah, avijja is the root of all kilesa.
Next question from Moon Lee, Australia. What is your opinion of this statement? Someone with good and regular samadhi will not appear to have any visible defilements or sense of self, and it will be impossible to tell whether they are Putujana or an Arahant. Is this statement accurate?
Well, normally you cannot tell people what they are by just looking at them. Even people who are themselves, sometimes they don't know themselves either. So you need to have a lot of wisdom to be able to separate the defilement from the mind. And so if you don't know what the defilements are, then you won't be able to even to tell whether yourself have a pure mind or yourself is still defiled. You still have a defiled mind. It's a matter of practicing and experiencing. You might first think that I am pure, but then maybe a few days later your dosa or your lopa might arise. Then you say, maybe I'm not so pure yet. So it's just a matter of keeping watching and eliminating all the defilement as they come up. Until there no more defilement coming up, then you know that your mind becomes pure.
Next question from Jamie Fullerton, Scotland. What is the best way to deal strong negative thoughts and emotions?
The best way, the easiest way is to use a mantra. When you have this negative thought and emotion, just recite a mantra, keep reciting, so to pull your mind away from this thought and this emotion. If you can stick with your mantra for a few minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, then you will forget about those thoughts and those emotions. If you still have, then you should keep reciting your mantra, because sometimes your mantra is not strong enough. You might be able to recite it for a few seconds, then you go back to your old thoughts again. So it's like a tug of war, that you have to keep pulling your mind away from those thoughts and emotions by using the mantra until you eventually achieve peace and calm, and your bad thoughts and emotion disappear.
His next question from other people. From Roger Wyatt, Guildford, England. I would like to ask about the differences and similarities between the Burmese tradition and Thai forest tradition of meditation. The Burmese tradition seems to put emphasis on achieving vipassana through awareness of anicca, and this seems different from Thai teaching.
Well, Thai forest tradition emphasizes the triple training: sila, samadhi, and panya. Sila are the monastic rules that the monk has to observe, like the Dhutanga practices and all the 227 monastic rules. Then the next step is to develop samadhi first before going into the development of panya or wisdom or vipassana. Because without the support of samadhi, you will not be able to use vipassana to eliminate your defilement, because you won't have the strength to do so. You need the strength of samadhi, and you need the wisdom of panya or vipassana to tell you that the defilements are bad for you. Once you know that and you have the strength to eliminate your defilement, then you can eliminate it. So this is why the forest tradition will emphasize these three training, which we call triple training, Traisikha, meaning sila, samadhi, and panya. As far as the Burmese tradition are I cannot say anything because I don't know anything about it.
Next question from Martin Tito, Newark, New Jersey, United States. I listen to most of Ajahn talks on YouTube and I love them. However, occasionally I find myself discouraged because as a lay person with a wife, a young child and a job, I do not have much time to meditate. I meditate every day for about 30 minutes to an hour, but sometimes when listening to Ajahn, I wonder if there are any spiritual gains for someone like me who is not a monk and cannot spend all day in meditation. Are there still spiritual gains to be made for a lay person?
Yes, as a lay person, if you can meditate and maintain the 5 precepts and do some charity work, your future life will be in a good state. You won't go to the lower state of existence, namely the existence of animals or ghosts or hell. If you can keep the 5 precepts and you can do some meditation and do some charity, your future existence will be guaranteed to be a good existence. But you cannot get to the point where you can reach nirvana, nibbana. You need to have full-time practice in order to be able to access nibbana.
This next question, I was hoping Ajahn could clear up my confusion. Is it possible to love one's family like my parents, my sibling, my child, my wife, without having attachment? When it is said no attachment, does it mean that I cannot love them?
No, loving someone but don't cling to them. Loving them with wisdom, knowing that one day we will have to depart from each other, separated from each other. So if we know that the fact that our relationship is temporarily, we can still love, but we also be prepared for the eventuality when we have to separate from one another. If we have this kind of love, then we will not fall into sadness when we have to separate from one another.
Next question from Wisaka Lim, Penang, Malaysia. When someone passed away, a Dhamma friend told me that we have to wait for 8 hours before we can remove the deceased body. Last time when my father-in-law passed away at home, I didn't wait for 8 hours but immediately called the undertaker to come and collect his body. The undertaker came about 1 hour later. Can Ajahn please guide me the Buddhist way? Because I need to know as I'm now taking care of my old age mother-in-law.
Well, it's a belief that sometimes people die and they're not really die yet. Maybe the mind slip into some sort of jhana or some samadhi, and so the body don't seem to be functioning anymore. But maybe a few hours later he might return from jhana. See? So there were cases like that with some people who die and maybe for 1 or 2 days then come back alive again. So people just want to make sure that you don't get rid of the body of that person when he's actually still alive. So some people believe in 8 hours, but nowadays maybe with the advance of modern technology, maybe the doctor can determine definitely that the body is dead. So it's just a matter of belief, I guess. If you want to wait for 8 hours, that's okay. Just in case your father or the person who dies might not actually die, might fall into some sort of unconsciousness, and somehow the doctor cannot determine whether it's dead or not dead. So the doctor might presume it is dead, when actually it's not yet dead. So maybe if you want to make sure, you might say maybe wait for another 6 hours or 8 hours to see whether, or maybe try to wake up the person, try to shake the person to see whether he did really die or not. Because if he's in some sort of samadhi, once you shake the body, you might also shake them from being in that samadhi.
But there's no bad luck because I think Chinese will have to like.
Huh?
Is it a bad luck if?
No, it has nothing to do with bad luck. It's practicality. That's all.
Question number 11 from Danny Teo, Singapore. I have problem focusing at the tip of the lips or at the tip of my nostril when breathing in and out. When I try to focus my mind at the tip of my lips, I tend to blink my eyes. And when I try to focus on my nostril, I tend to have jerky effect and heavy mind. How should I focus my mind to experience jhana?
Maybe try just to know that you're breathing in and breathing out without having to focus at any point. Just be aware that, just know that you are breathing in, breathing out, and just focus on that only. And don't think about anything when you're doing that, and don't anticipate for the result. Asking yourself, when am I going to have jhana? When is going to be jhana? Don't anticipate, because your anticipation will block your jhana. Just be dumb, just watch your breath, and then your breath will eventually get you into jhana.
His next question. After I sit for about 45 minutes, I feel my body become boneless and the whole top body tend to slouch to the ground. Is this normal, or do I need to readjust my posture to mindfully sit upright?
Now when you're sitting, when you first start, you make sure that you are sitting in the right position. And once you have done that, then ignore all your feelings about your body, because it can be misleading. It's not true, and it can disrupt your concentration. So don't let the body bothers you when you feel that your body slouch or not sitting properly. Just ignore it. Just concentrate on your meditation. If not, you will not be able to succeed in your meditation, because you will be distracted by these thoughts of your body.
Next question from Kelvin Lee, Malaysia. Recently, when I meditate, I feel stressed instead of feeling relaxed and calm. I'm aware that I'm bombarded with thoughts that cause my stress, so I try to focus back on my breath. But when that doesn't work, I switch to focusing on Bhutto. However, that didn't really work as well. So I spent a long time battling with getting my mind to be in the breath or with the Bhutto. The entire process makes me feel stressed, and I can feel my heart beats faster. Could Ajahn please advise how to progress?
It means your mind is not ready for meditation. So you have to use some other method, like chanting. Chanting for a long time, maybe half an hour, to calm your mind down first. If you cannot chant, you can listen to a Dhamma talk. Just listening, that way will pull your mind away from the thoughts that keep bothering you. And once you feel calm enough, then you can continue on with your meditation.
Next question from Indonesia, from Uranus Corp. How can we differentiate between jhana and vibhanga?
Vibhanga is can be either jhana or can be sleep. There's two kinds of vibhanga. When you sleep, you enter one form of vibhanga. Vibhanga without mindfulness is sleep, and vibhanga with mindfulness is jhana. You are constantly aware of your state of mind. Then your mind becomes calm, peaceful, and happy. Then you are in jhana. But when you enter into sleep, you don't know what happens to you. So there are two kinds of vibhanga: with mindfulness or without mindfulness.
And also, what is the difference between jhana vibhanga and nirodha sampatti?
I'm not sure. I think you might have to look up in the Google.
Next question from Alex Tan, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Bhante advised us to ignore the pain during meditation. Focus on meditation object like the breath, but I heard from Theravada monk that we need to be careful and don't overly endure the pain if it's extremely painful, because he had seen or heard one meditator damage his knee due to sitting for too long. So how do we balance between both the extreme pain and our concentration during meditation?
Well, first you have to know your physical condition. If you have any physical condition, then you should not force your mind force it upon your physical condition. But if you have normal, no problem with your physical condition, then if you sit and let the pain arise and leave it alone, it won't hurt your body when you come out. So you have to know, if you already have pre-existing condition, you have knee problem, then you don't want to force it. But if you have no problem with your knees or your legs or anything like that, and when you sit and you feel painful and you ignore it, that won't hurt your body after you finish with your meditation.
Next question from Miss Aini, Indonesia. When I stay in one monastery, there were many ants in the toilet crawling at the door and the wall. The monk said I can flush the ants, so I flush and take water to spray them. I saw many ants die. Did I break my precept?
Well, if you kill, you break the precept. Okay.
Next question from Indonesia. What should I do when my dream become reality, especially my bad dream, like when I dream about stabbing a guy with a knife? It will happen sometime around 8 to 12 months in the future. So how to control it and how should I do?
Try to stay away from a knife. Don't be close to a knife. And try to develop mindfulness and the wisdom to teach your mind that killing is bad for you, not good for you. So that when you have that incident happen, you might be able to prevent it. But if you can't, then you just have to accept it's your karma. And you still have to do bad karma and pay the consequence of that karma later on. But if you don't want to, then you have to develop strong mindfulness and wisdom to remind yourself, to stop yourself from doing those actions.
Next question from Alexander, Maine, Florida. Currently, I'm practicing Vipassana meditation, but I have experience with various forms of samatha. I was wondering what kind of meditation Ajahn Suchat practices.
Normally, if I sit, I use mindfulness of breathing. If I'm not sitting, I keep watching my body action. Whatever I do, I constantly stay close to that body action and not let my mind go think about other things. Or if I like, I can think in terms of wisdom. Think that everything that I do, I have, will one day I will no longer have it. Everything is impermanent, and I must be ready to let go of everything.
Next question from BN. How does one go forth if parents are strongly against it, and how to deal with feeling worried about parents being embarrassed when asked by relatives and friends?
Well, we have a story during the time of the Buddha. There was a rich couple have one son, and the son wants to become a monk. And the parents are strongly against that because they want the son to receive the inheritance. And if the son becomes monk, they don't know who to give the inheritance to. So they strongly object to his desire to become a monk. But he has a strong desire to become a monk. So he decided to fast, not to eat. He said he only eat only when he can ordain. So at first his parents went to his friends and asked him to come and convince him not to fast, to stop fasting. But all the friends that came and talked to him could not convince him. He still adamant that he is going to fast until he dies or he become a monk. So eventually his parents gave up and let him ordain. So if you have strong enough desire to ordain, I think there's a way. Like there's the saying, where there is a will, there is a way.
Next question from Joe Carr, Texas, United States. What is the relationship between Vedana and the four elements?
Well, the four elements, they are elements, like earth, water, fire, and wind. They are what you call elements. But Vedana are feelings. Feeling that arise from the body. You have painful feeling, not painful feeling, neutral feeling. These are feelings that arise from the body. So they are not the same. You can say they arise from the four elements because of the four elements make up the body. and the interaction of the four elements cause the feeling to arise. Like when you have stomach ache, that's because you ate some bad food, have some bad water element or some earth element that cause the body to become painful. That painful feeling is the result of the four elements, interaction between the four elements that causes this feeling to arise. And the way to cope with feeling is to accept it, not trying to change it. Because if you want to change it, you create another form of mental feeling, which is a lot worse than the physical feeling. So this is the practice of Buddhism, is to prevent or to eliminate the mental feeling, especially the bad feeling to arise. We call suffering. Our suffering arises because we want to manage the four elements. We want to manage the feelings. We want to keep the feeling always good. As soon as we have bad or painful feeling, we want to get rid of it. And when we have the desire to get rid of this bad feeling, painful feeling, the painful feeling in the mind arises. So we don't want to do that. We want to prevent this to happen because the painful feeling in the mind is a lot painful. It's a lot more painful than the pain in the body. So we just leave the pain in the body alone because we cannot manage it. We cannot control it. But we know that it is impermanent. Sooner or later it will disappear. And we can live with it if we wanted to. The reason we couldn't live with it because we didn't want to, because we thought it is beyond our ability to be with it. But in fact, the mind can be with any form of painful feeling and will not be hurt if the mind just remain non-reactive to that feeling. Just leave that feeling alone.
This next question. Does every sensation triggered by four elements?
Well, the four elements make up the body, and then the body is the one that creates this sensation.
And do we store the different sensation as vijnana?
The mind comes into contact or connected with the body, and the mind then remember this sensation as like a storage in the computer hard disk. The mind is like a computer that stores all forms of feelings and sensations.
His next question. I read the rupa are the four elements and rupa is the first element of five aggregates. Do the four elements present in both internal and external? Internal means our body, external means the object of the world that made up of four elements.
Everything are made up of the four elements, either animate or inanimate things. Like human body, animal bodies, they are made up of the four elements. The trees and the mountains, they are made up of the four elements, but without the consciousness or the mind connected to it.
Do the assemble and the disassemble of four elements defined as arising and passing of life?
Yes, in terms of the body, but in terms of the mind, it just mark the changing of a new body, like changing a new set of clothes, because the mind doesn't die with the body. So when the body dies, then the mind go and look for a new body.
Some books talk about six elements. What are the difference between the four and six elements? Is the six elements subset of four?
No, the four elements plus the mind, which is the knowing element, and plus the six, which is the space element. See, the four elements need space to exist on. Without the space element, there cannot be the four elements to exist on. So this is basically the building block of the universe, the six elements.
Next question, question 21 from Fauzia. What Ajahn ท่านอาจารย์ what it means by meditation without foundation I meditate on centeredness of the mind or do I keep mind center in the stillness is it wrong
Well, when you meditate, you need to have mindfulness to direct your mind. Without mindfulness, your mind will be like a boat without a rudder. It will not be. You cannot tell the boat which way to go. The mind is the same way. If you want the mind to become still, you need something to guide it to that point to become still. And the thing that can guide the mind to become still is mindfulness. Mindfulness is the ability to stop your thoughts. If you cannot stop your thoughts, then you have to develop mindfulness by reciting a mantra, like Bhutto Bhutto. When you're reciting a mantra, you are developing mindfulness. You are stopping your mind from thinking aimlessly. And then by this virtue of reciting the mantra, it will direct the mind to enter into calm, into samadhi.
Last question from about Buddhist teacher from Chua Seng Yi. For the last 15 years, I'm exploring the reason why someone teaches Buddhism. In my mind, Buddhism is never a form of knowledge, but a realization. So when someone is trying to teach it, perhaps it's misleading. So his question, you say without the Buddha, you are not as what you are today. So are you saying you exist because of the Buddha, and then you are lost without the Buddha guide? So what are you?
Well, see, without the Buddha, I would not know the way to Nibbana. Like if I want to go to Singapore, if I don't have a map or I don't know where Singapore is, I will need someone to tell me. So the Buddha is someone who tells you the way to Nibbana. That's all. Without the Buddha, you would not know how to get to Nibbana.
This next question. Do you learn from other people, including the one you call a student?
Yeah, what you learn from them is not as important as what you learn from the Buddha. Because what you learn from them, you just learn of the defilements, that's all. But you don't learn how to get rid of those defilements. You learn how to create more defilements from learning from other people. But when you learn from the Buddha, you will learn the way how to get rid of the defilements.
His last question. When you say you teach others is like a bonus, are you actually teaching yourself? So are you a Buddhist teacher or not?
When I'm saying bonus, it means I can take it or leave it. It's not important for me. I'm not getting any better from teaching, and I'm not losing anything by not teaching. But I do it because out of people's interest in me. I didn't go to them, they come to me. I never go to people and ask, do you want me to teach Dhamma to you? Everybody that come here, they come out on their own, never on my invitation. Okay?
That's all for today.
All right. Thank you for all your questions. And please send in more questions, because besides from being useful to you, it can also be useful to other people. Okay?
Okay, thank
May you progress in the Dhamma practice, and may you see the light of Dhamma soon. Goodbye.
Thank you.
จบตัดได้